EA have released the Centurions Cup objectives, and you get some pretty good rewards for them, let's just say that. You got a 10 times 83 plus if you can win all 10, you got an 84 plus singular player, 83 plus doubles. In fact, you got multiple 83 plus double packs up for grabs, an 81 plus times 2, and if you complete the whole thing, if you get all 10 wins, you get yourself an 85 plus times 2 pack as well. If we head on over to the objectives by going on over to play and head on over to the friendlies tab, and we'll go ahead and have a look at the requirements for it and kind of what you can do with a squad builder, whether I have to make you a squad builder or whether you can just use one your own. So fingers crossed, we've got some pretty nice requirements for them, and it's nothing too tricky. Clubs max 4. Alright, so it's a little bit tricky, but at the same time, I like it. There's going to be unique teams. I like that quite a bit. As you can see on the left-hand side of your screen, you've got 4 matches remaining. That refreshes every 23 hours, or 24 hours, sorry. So every single day, you've got 4 matches every single day for the next 7 days. And if you want to do some maths, and you want to times 7 times 4, you are going to have 28 attempts to get the 10 wins. So you need to win 10 and lose 18, or obviously you don't want to purposely lose 18. You want to try get your 10 wins out of 28, which is definitely doable. Around maybe every 1.5 games, or every 1 in 3 games even almost, you have to win. So they've made it relatively doable, which I like. Now when it comes to the squad builder and the club's max 4, I am blessed enough that my team has got a lot of icons and heroes which count as a specific club. Now as you can see, the bench does count towards the club's requirement as well. So what you're probably going to want to do, instead of mucking up your whole team, is make a concept squad, call it whatever you want. I'll just go ahead, we'll just spam A, why not? So you want to make a concept squad, in my opinion, kind of starting fresh. I think you want to choose the formation that you're most comfortable with, which will jump into some tips later, and custom tactics, spoiler alert, is going to be one of the main tips for that one. But choose a formation that you're comfortable with first. A 4-4-2 for me, I personally do not mind at all. I will happily use a 4-4-2. Now if you have got lots of icons like myself, that is perfect, because as you can see, icons literally count as a club this year. I think they did last year as well, which is beautiful. So I can have like a majority of an icon team, exact same with heroes. But what you're going to want to do is search your club for your best players and see the club that you've got the most in common with. For me, it will be icon, and I know lots of you guys may not have the same amount of icons that I do, but I'll go ahead, I'll fill all of this out. Once again, you guys might have lots of PSG players, you might have maybe a few Juventus players, you might have a couple Arsenal players, Chelsea players, something like that, and you want to build your team around them. So as you can see, that's lots of my icon players there. In fact, I think I've got some defenders as well. Now obviously we are a little bit lucky, I've got quite a few icons, and when I do pack these icons from icon packs and stuff, I do not really like use them as fodder. I complete icon SBC, so for me this is going to be very, very nice for me. But obviously icon, that's one club. So if we're going from my point of view, if we're going to look at the centre backs, I know I've got PSG and Marquinhos. But in fact, hero as well will count as a specific club. So if you do have some heroes, you might have heroes, icons, whatever. It's kind of just like going off of what you've got in your club. You may have to buy some players from the transfer market as well, and I do want to mention, make sure the bench is all filled up too with players from the one club, because the bench, as you can see, it says 3 clubs just below my webcam. If we fill up the bench with players from a different club, as you can see, it does count as different clubs, so be aware of that. Lots of you guys may not know that. As you can see, we have not got the requirements, so maybe you're confused, your starting 11 is all fine, but then you've got some players on your bench, you're confused why you can't go into a game. It is because the players on your bench count as a club. So what I would do to avoid that one is go ahead and choose a poor Premier League team. When I say a poor Premier League team, we'll go ahead and choose a team with lots of gold common players. Newcastle most definitely are not a poor Premier League team, but they have got lots of gold common players. Therefore, we can set it at 500. You got Chris Wood, Kiwi R9 by the way, Darlow, Jolington, Dan Burn, just pick up some players for 500 coins. You've got Fraser, Shelby, I think you have literally got on the dot, I think you've got 7 or 8 gold common players. Willock, there we go. So you can go here to pick up 7 of these guys for 500 coins, chuck them on the bench if you have to, and that can be your 4th club, just to make sure you do not exceed that limit. If you've already got 4 clubs in your main team, obviously you're going to have to use a club that you're using in your starting 11 on the bench. So if you are using like PSG as one one club, then it'll be a bit tricky to get a full PSG bench as well, because that will cost you probably 20,000-30,000 coins. But if we head on over to the tips, the number one tip, I say tips, if there's only one today, and that is custom tactics. Here's a little brief in-game example of how custom tactics work if you're not too sure. Custom tactics, in my opinion, is very important because not much people use them in friendly game modes. Now, I'm not going to give you guys some certain custom tactics to use, but what I do really like this year is direct passing for balanced, and if you do want to edit your attacking and defensive ones as well, I do recommend fast build up for attacking and even press after possession loss if you want. Now, as for in-game as well, if you really do want to change formations, you could do that for your like attacking defensive. You could start as a 4-3-3 and change in-game to a 4-1-2-1-2 second variation, something like that, you know, because so much people in friendly game modes, they're going to make a new team, they're going to get the requirements, and they're just going to leave all their custom tactics unbalanced. They're not going to change their in-game formation, they're not going to do player instructions, so if you do that yourself, it will give you a little bit of an advantage. And what you could do is you could copy your custom tactics for your main team, something that you're used to. If you do not run custom tactics on your main team, then there's plenty of videos on YouTube. I've even got some videos of my own for custom tactics on my own YouTube. That is a created playlist in my playlist section if you do want to check that out. And obviously, as I mentioned before you made this squad, I recommend choosing a formation you're comfortable with. You'll be using a formation you're comfortable with whilst using tactics that you're comfortable with. Relatively straightforward, lads. Once again, you want to try and win 10 matches. You've got 4 matches every single day. It refreshes 24 hours, so make sure you use those matches every single day. You log on, make sure you play those 4 games. Very important, because if you miss a day, you go from having to win 10 matches out of 28. If you miss one day, you're then going to have to go down to have to try and win 10 out of 24. If you miss 2 days, you've got to win half your games. So you've got to make sure you do not miss a day, because imagine the pain. You miss a day and you end up finishing on 9 wins. I'm sorry I put that thought in your head, but that would be very painful. So make sure you do not make that mistake. If you do just fall short of 10, don't beat yourself up over it, right, lads? Any questions, make sure to let me know down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.